question for the fellow Christians out there. Like the same ones that are like lit up my For You page like for the past week. Where's that fire right now? Like, can I borrow some of that outrage? Because a young man named Trey Reed was found dead on campus in Mississippi. And not just dead, brutally tortured. Like both legs were broken, and then he somehow hung himself. How do you even do that? Can someone explain the mechanics to me? Because the no foul play line doesn't really seem to be cutting it.
Hey, it's time to wrap this Charlie Kirk shit the fuck up. Buddy got his wig snatched. Whoop-de-doo. Moving on, they out here wilding in Mississippi. Trey Reed and Corey Zucaitis have both been found hanging from trees. Why is this not being talked about? Why is the media not covering this? Let's see if our president has something to say, like he did oh so much when Charlie Kirk got sent to the gulag. As for Trey Reed, this happened on a college campus where students are supposed to feel safe. We need the police and FBI to look into this case thoroughly. Give the same amount of energy you put into Charlie Kirk's case.
Let me get this right. So, white man gets shot in the head and it's immediately a leftist act of political violence. But when a black man is found hanging from a tree, it's possibly a suicide. Maybe it's self-done.
Hey, so for all of you guys that have been crying over Charlie Kirk, this is your opportunity to prove what you have been saying about, oh, we do care about more than Charlie Kirk. This is your opportunity right now to prove that. Whether or not you're silent about this issue is going to prove what you really truly care about. 21-year-old Trey Reed, this is him right here, was found hanging from a tree literally yesterday, Monday the 15th, near the DSU campus pickleball court. Everybody on this campus is labeling this as a lynching, which it most clearly definitely is, but they're still investigating. But as always, the police are saying, oh, we don't suspect foul play. We don't suspect that anything happened involving lynching.
Boy. So we got to talk about one of the most disgusting grifts that I've ever seen in this country. And again, it's really hard to think that this country could go to a lower place than it already is, okay, following the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and the fact that the mainstream liberal media refuses to admit that the assassin was radicalized by far-left ideology. But they're also trying to desperately move on from the story, particularly liberals, black liberals, activists, in this case, want to stop talking about Charlie Kirk. They're saying, listen, we need to stop talking about Charlie Kirk because we have more important things to worry about. Like, for example, this random black student from Cleveland, Mississippi, named Troy Reed, who it seems as if committed suicide, right? He was found hanging from a tree, and you guys already know, black man hanging from a tree in Mississippi automatically equals hate crime, right? It must have been a group of white folks that decided to lynch this young black child, right? That is the narrative that is coming out of this. And you have these activists trying to use this as a way to shield criticism of their reaction to Charlie Kirk's death and the fact that it happened in the first place. But furthermore, it seems as if they're trying to incite more racial violence and animosity in this country, right? That seems to be what they're trying to do. Because I just want to be very, very, very clear before I get into the story that none of these individuals that are begging people to stop talking about Charlie Kirk and to talk about this young man give a damn about this young man. They don't care about this young man, and they're simply using his death because that's what Democrats and liberals do nowadays, right? They've become grave diggers. The same thing they did with Melissa Hortman, who they did not care about. They're digging up dead bodies and using dead bodies as shields to deflect criticism, to try to move on past Charlie Kirk. And we're not going to do that. But I will cover this story because it is a story that is going viral, and we have to dispel some of the myths that are floating around on the internet about what happened to this young man. The number one myth, which is that he was lynched. Okay, we do not know that. Okay, there's no evidence to support that claim. We're going to get into it, but I just want to show you guys all of the people, the Democrats, who now all of a sudden want you to care about something else outside of Charlie Kirk. Okay, which is, again, the most disgusting part about this, okay, and how they're trying to tie it back to Charlie Kirk, because you have some who are suggesting that this happened after what happened to Charlie Kirk. So therefore, it must be related, that black people are being hunted because of what happened to Charlie Kirk. Again, there's no evidence to back up these claims whatsoever. So before we really get into this, I want to make sure you guys have a good background in regards to what happened here, because the family is asking questions. They're asking for a investigation, independent investigation into what happened to this young student, because the coroner's report and the sheriff, who happened to be black, by the way, both of which happen to be black, they're saying that there was no foul play, that it was suicide, and that's it. And for whatever reason, people are not accepting that narrative. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
Tonight, heartbreak and unanswered questions surround the death of 21-year-old Demartravion Trey Reed, a first-year student at Delta State University. Reed was found hanging from a tree on campus early Monday morning. He was found near the pickleball courts. While officials say no foul play is suspected, Reed's family and community leaders are demanding a full and transparent investigation. 12 News' Jalen Thornton is in studio with more. Jalen?
At a press conference in Grenada, Reed's family stood alongside their legal team calling for accountability from Delta State University and the Bolivar County Coroner's Office. They say they learned of Reed's death through media reports and have yet to receive direct communication from university leadership. The family is now pursuing an independent autopsy and investigation.
A simple phone call from the president of the university with some personalization that this young man that we entrusted to Delta State University, that you care.
Congressman Benny Thompson has joined the call for answers, urging the Department of Justice and the FBI to launch a federal investigation. In a statement, Thompson said, "We must leave no stone unturned in the search for answers. While the details of this case are still emerging, we cannot ignore Mississippi's painful history of lynching and racial violence against African Americans." He emphasized that federal resources are essential to ensure a thorough and impartial inquiry. Delta State University President Dr. Daniel Ennis addressed the campus community today, expressing sorrow and reaffirming the university's cooperation with investigators. He emphasized the school's commitment to safety and support while asking for patience as the investigation continues.
We know that as a university, we're given a trust. People come here to learn, they come here to be safe, and they come here to thrive. And one of our students is gone, and we will never forget that. We continue to meet with and be in contact with Trey's family. We give them our love and support, and we know that we can never fully heal this wound. None of us will fully heal, but we have to go on.
Investigation unfolds. The Reed family says they will not rest until they receive clear, verified answers. They're calling for transparency, accountability, and justice for a young man whose life was just beginning. Delta State University will hold a press conference tomorrow morning on the investigation.
Yeah, so let me be the first to say that what happened to this young man, whether that be murder or suicide, which at this point, again, it seemed as if it was suicide, but again, we don't know for sure, right? But again, I'm just telling you what evidence is. Regardless, what happened was tragic, okay? And there is a reason why there's so many people who do believe that there was foul play, that this was not a suicide situation. This was an individual who was murdered, who was lynched, right? This is what they believe. Now, the reason why they believe this is because an individual who identifies himself as the cousin of Trey Reed says that another cousin told him that Trey Reed had broken bones, right? That his bones was broken, and therefore it was impossible for this to be a situation where Trey Reed took his own life. Take a look.
Forget all the Charlie Kirk situation right now. Let's go down to Mississippi. The name Trayvon Reed needs to ring all over the United States right now. 1, that is my cousin. 2, this is the second incident that has occurred within the last 5 years at this campus. Delta State University has had a run-in with me and their policemen. They tried to lock me up for no reason, and it didn't succeed in their favor. I went on a 9-month probation, and that's it. This year, just today, it was reported that my cousin was found hanging from a tree, and they trying to rule it as a suicide. Now, I just got off the phone with one of my cousins. She said she seen the reports, and it said that he was beaten and bruised. Both his arms was broken, and he had a broken leg. I'm gonna let y'all do the math. Now, this school has history for being racist. Even going all the way back to the 1980 situation that happened with the sit-in. I love to refer to that situation because that was one of the significant situations that happened with one of the black revolts that happened at the school. But still, I'm trying to be composed in this video, and I'm trying to keep it all together. But it's a lot of shit that happens on that campus that don't nobody do shit about. It was incidents before my big incident happened, and that I reported that nobody did nothing about. Somebody tried to report me for a hate crime, and they was the one being homophobic, transphobic, and being racist. And they was trying to lock me up until I had multiple people come out and speak against him. There was an incident that I reported that it was a group of white students in a white truck while I was a freshman. They yelled at me and my friends and called us a bunch of monkeys. Please do a deep dive on this. Please, 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 please do your research on this. Do not let them sweep nothing else under the rug. Enough is enough. It is 2025, and bullshit after bullshit after bullshit is still getting fed to us. Enough is enough.
Yeah. So I don't know about you guys, but something feels off to me, right? In regards to that specific individual. Again, that individual's video is the basis for why is it that people are claiming that there was foul play here, right? That this student was lynched. Even though, again, the coroner and the chief of police, both of whom happen to be black, say that there's no evidence of foul play, at least as of right now. But again, that hasn't stopped the race hustlers from concluding that, hey, must have been a lynching. Must have been a lynching.
At this time, are there any questions?
Chief, Mark Scott from Fox 13 News in Memphis. First question that comes out is, how was the statement foul play has been ruled out so soon when you just said a preliminary coroner's report hasn't even been ruled?
Thank you for your question. Again, the statement was initially, at this point, we didn't believe the other have evidence of foul play.
Chief Ross Adams, 16 WAPT Jackson. You talked about, again, the initial report about no foul play. Did you personally put your eyes on the student's body, and how do you make a determination by making a physical observation without having any knowledge about what happened to that person's body?
Well, with the combined effort of Delta State Police, Cleveland PD, Collin County Sheriff's Office, yes, did we lay eyes on the student? I did. I was there. One of the first on scene. And again, it's an ongoing investigation.
Okay, but you're answering my question, and you're including all these different agents. I'm asking about you ahead of the one statement.
Again, I was there. I was the second officer from my department on the scene.
Yesterday, Trey's grandfather said that the first call he received, the officer told him that Trey was found in his room. But then the next call he received, and I'm quoting, they said he hung himself. Can you explain that discrepancy?
I don't have any knowledge of any calls that the grandfather received. I know I did speak to the grandfather for the next of kin, and outside of that, I can't answer what calls he received and who he received from.
Chief, do any videos suggest that there have been reports of those videos?
There are videos, and they're in the hands of the investigative team. Right now, Cleveland PD is leading the investigation. This is our investigation, but they're leading in the investigation.
So there was some else video that captured what happened to Trey on campus at the time of death?
I can't speak to that at this moment. Again, there is video, but it's still, the investigation is ongoing.
Is there some else video that would capture what happened in that area where his body was found in the phone?
And again, there's a video out there, and we can't speak to that at this moment. It's still an ongoing investigation.
Can you talk about the rest of the reason campus that you received residentially too?
Just the fact that, again, emotions are arising, people are calling, and I don't have a specific threat yet, but again, the threats may be phone calls that staff and students are receiving, but specific threats I don't have those.
Yeah. So I just want to be clear, okay? I don't know what happened. I'm not saying that it's impossible that this young man was lynched. I'm not saying that there was no foul play involved. I'm simply saying I don't know to come to any conclusion outside of what is being told to us by the black police chief. You have a black coroner, okay? So you have black people involved. I'm trying to figure out what motivation would they actually have to hide this, right? To lie about what happened, because the police chief says, hey, we got video. Okay. if he's seen the video, and also on top of that, if he's seen the body, the coroner has examined the body, what logical reason would they have to lie, right? To knowingly lie about what they believe happened if they had any real evidence to believe otherwise? It doesn't really make any sense. But again, in the eyes of the race hustlers who are trying to grift off of this story, apparently this is a huge conspiracy. There's collusion in order to avoid black people getting upset about what could be a white lynching. Take a look.
His name is Trey Reed. But to be real, his circumstances are giving more Raynard Jackson, Nick Naylor, Roy Veal, or Javion McGee, each of them black men who were found hanging from trees where the official reports ruled out foul play. But with a history like ours in America, we know better than to let our personal investigation stop at what the report may say. Trey Reed was found hanging in the middle of Delta State University, located in Cleveland, Mississippi. And after reading the initial headline, a whole lot ain't sit right with me. Now, according to the Equal Justice Initiative, Mississippi has had at least 656 reported lynchings. Almost like every black body had a bounty. And there have been at least 13 reported lynchings in Bolivar County alone. There is a well-documented history of racial violence in the area. And if you add on the current climate that we're in the latest unrest and hysteria, to me, it just shows this is the same old America.
And in cases like this, with something that's so grotesque as a lynching, something that is emblematic of this country's treatment to black Americans, I wouldn't be surprised if they throw this under the rug, just as they did Javion McGee. Because you have to understand what they risk upon them coming out and say, hey, bunch of white kids lynched that black boy, that 20-year-old college student, someone who was looking to better his life. Same thing with Javion McGee. Upon that happening, I would argue all hell breaks loose. That's what I would argue. The point in time that they confirm a lynching by white youth of a black person on a college campus or anywhere is game over, fam. It's genuinely game over, okay? I'm gonna be honest with you. It's no more playtime. It's no more division. It is game over. It is literally, all right, we are going to get justice one way or another. As Malcolm X says, the bullet or the ballot. So in all honesty, my belief is they have no option but to deem this a suicide. That's why you got the sheriff saying one thing. You have the coroner, agreeing with the sheriff. They all have their narrative in line. Same thing that happened with Javion McGee. Same thing that happens whenever we see a black person who has been hung. Well, it's a suicide. Well, there's no signs of any type of stress or, any type of distress. None of that. It's just, that's what happened.
Yeah. So I love when these race hustlers tell on themselves. Because clearly they do not care about this young man. I do care about this young man. From the perspective of if he in fact did commit suicide, that's terrible. And I think that people should care about it from the perspective of the fact that anybody who's willing to take their life, I think it's important to realize, okay, well, what were they going through to make them want to do that? Now, again, all we got to go off of at this point, the facts and evidence, which says that there's no foul play. I don't blame the family for wanting to look into it and to find out more about it. But again, my problem here, my issue is that these people on the internet who claim to care about this don't actually really care outside of this dead black man's body being used to push their political agenda. This is why a vast majority of these individuals have to talk about Charlie Kirk before talking about this, because it's about politics. It's not about this young man. They can care less about what this young man may or may not have been going through, right? They don't care. Again, listen to them. The Amazing Bottom just said out loud that if it just so happens that this was a lynching done by white youth, that there's going to be a race riot. That's essentially what he's saying. That's what he's calling for, right? That's what he's saying. Let's be real. So my question is, why does it matter? Why is your reaction dictated by the race of the people who may or may not have murdered this young black man? Shouldn't you be upset regardless? Shouldn't you be upset regardless of whether or not the murderers were white or black? Shouldn't it be tragic either way? Because statistically speaking, it is likely that if this young man was murdered, he was probably murdered by black people. Now, again, that's statistically what is likely. We don't know. But again, this automatic assumption that he was lynched by white people is just completely and totally unfounded. There is no evidence to back up that claim. Again, I support further investigation. I think it's worth looking into. But again, what you just heard from the Amazing Bottom is that his reaction, how he feels about it, is dictated based off whether or not the murderers were white, right? It's dictated based on whether or not he can use this dead black man in order to push his race hustle, to push more racial division in this country. It's really despicable stuff. It's disgusting. It's disgusting, to be honest with you. It really is. Because we all know that if this young man was murdered, right? If he was murdered, let's say he was actually murdered. If the murderers were black, would these people care? No, they wouldn't care. No, they wouldn't care. The story would go away. They stopped talking about it. They're only talking about it. They only care about it because of the potential racial angle here, and that they can use this as a distraction from Charlie Kirk, right? To try to reshift the national conversation. Oh no, you don't understand. Black people are the real victims. They tried to do that with the bomb threats at HBCUs. Right, you guys remember right after what happened to Charlie Kirk, all of a sudden you got these people talking about, well, there were bomb threats at HBCUs, oh God, right? Black people are the actual victims, right? That is what they try to do. And that's why you have people who are coming out, like, for example, a young man who claimed to be the friend of Trey Reed, telling these race hustling grifters to stop making videos about his friend, because none of you people know him, okay, as a person. And obviously this is being used for people's personal gain, for their own clout, for their own platforms, because they actually really don't care about this young man.
What we not finna do for my mom, we not finna turn Trey into no goddamn hashtag, no motherfucking let's talk about because this what's popping right now. We not finna do that. On my brother, we not finna do that. Y'all don't know Trey. Y'all ain't never spoke to Trey. Y'all never hung with Trey. Y'all niggas never been there for Trey. Y'all niggas never did shit for Trey. So why the fuck is you talking about him? Alright? This is what we not finna do. Motherfuckers is out here crying. His family out here grieving. And y'all weak ass niggas over here talking about him. Oh, they found him. Shut the fuck. You don't even know what the fuck going on. Be the fuck quiet. Stop making videos about, bruh. This my homie, gang. This a nigga I talk to damn near every day. Huh? This a nigga I speak to every day, nigga. And I can't do that shit no fucking more. I can't do shit no fucking more. Other than sit here and feel like a fucking bitch because I wasn't enough for him. This called me and I ain't answer the fucking phone. Stop speaking on Trey. I really grieved. I really hurt. And y'all ass doing this shit for clicks and like, ain't nobody. Fuck y'all niggas. Brother, I don't get no fuck about none of that shit. And she came here on my mama. On my mama, boy, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, so in full transparency, this individual is talking about the video that I showed you guys earlier in the video that is being used to push this narrative that his bones were broken and that this was a murder. Now, again, the friend does believe that foul play is involved, but again, he's specifically addressing people who are chiming in on this situation, talking about this situation, spreading unverified rumors about this situation. Again, for clicks and likes, and not necessarily because they actually really care about what happened.
All over the United States right now. One, that is my cousin. Two,
your ass fucking lying. That's two. I'm gonna tell y'all this just like this for my mama. I don't even feel like getting into this shit. That's not that boy cousin. Trey didn't even fuck with him. How I know? Because I actually talked to his people. Matter of fact, I just got off the phone with one of his cousins.
Yeah. So the icing on the cake, just to really show you guys how much a lot of these grifters don't actually give a damn about what happened to this individual. And again, they're using this because of the obvious potential race angle to it, even though there's no evidence of that, right? But regardless, there was a similar kind of hanging, a situation that happened around the same time that this young man lost his life. And for whatever reason, the activists don't really seem to care about this story. Let's actually listen to the story and let's guess in regards to why they don't care about this similar situation.
It's this tragedy. A life was lost due to another hanging incident not too far from Cleveland. 12 News' Delisha Banks joins us with that story. Delisha?
Jalen, 108 miles south of Cleveland, Mississippi, leads you to the city of Vicksburg, where a second person was found hanging from a tree on Monday.
The Vicksburg Police Department responded to a wooded area near Ameristar Casino in the 4100 block of Washington Street a little after 1 p.m. Officials say they discovered a white male who was later identified as 35-year-old Corey Zucadis from Brandon. He was believed to be homeless, and one of his peers found him hanging from a tree.
He was homeless, but that particular area over there has become somewhat of a haven for homeless people. We also understand that the reason he was in Vicksburg, he's actually from Brandon, but the reason he was in Vicksburg is because he had recently participated in the River Rescue Mission, a part of their dependency program. Now, other than that, that's all we know. Again, our hearts and sympathy go out to the family. But we did make that death notification, and they are aware of it. They were aware that he was homeless. And it's just something that, another one of those things that we have to deal with, not only in the city of Vicksburg, but in the state of Mississippi.
So what you have here is a similar situation where somebody was found hanging. We don't know why, right? But it doesn't look like any foul play was involved as of right now. Happened basically in the same area. And they only care about one of these. Why do they only care about one of these situations? Is because the situation that they quote unquote care about, there's a racial angle to it. White man found hung. Well, they don't care if he was lynched or not. Could have been. We don't know. But for whatever reason, they only care about lynchings when a black person's the victim. When a white person's the victim, it's silence. All of a sudden, they don't care about lynchings. Because again, if they actually cared about that, right? People being found hung from trees in Mississippi, they think that this should be a national news story, right? Why aren't you speaking out about this man? Why don't you care about this man? Because there is no racial angle here. They cannot use him to push their race hustle. That's the only reason they care about Trey Reed. That's it. And if it turns out that this individual was murdered by a black man, these people won't care. If it turns out that Trey Reed was murdered by a black man, these people won't care. If it turns out that Trey Reed was murdered by a white man, well, you already saw in this video how they're going to be so angry and so upset, and this is so terrible, and stuff like this shouldn't happen in the country. Yeah, again, I just cannot express words for how shameless these individuals really are, because using this young man to push a race agenda, to push a race narrative that's not there is disgusting. It's disgusting. It really is. And that's where these people are at this point. That's how desperate they are to change the narrative, is that they're digging up dead bodies and using the dead bodies as shields. People they don't care about at all. They're using those dead bodies to deflect criticism while pretend like they're fighting for justice when they don't give a damn about justice. They don't give a damn. They just care about what they can gain out, what they can personally gain out of exploiting somebody's death, right? That's all they care about. So me personally, I hope that the family gets the answers that they're looking for, clear, definitive answers in regards to what happened to this young man. And until then, I mean, right now, you only can go with what the police are saying, but I hope that they get all of the investigations, all the things that they want in order to see what happened to this young man. But again, it's really sad that this family, while they're grieving, is being used by these race hustlers for, again, their own personal gain. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.